this light is obnoxiously bright, so it's gonna be right in your eyes.
But it's gonna make you look real pretty.
I bet, yeah.
Hey, good morning, folks. Thanks so much for joining me here on Wave Now. I'm Myra Ansari. Hope you are having a good Friday so far. So we are going live to a very informal interview with Louisville Metro Police detective. He's talking about a case involving a couple of juvenile burglary suspects that they are investigating. A detective is kind of doing a sit down with some of our reporters and photographers, talking about the case that happened June 25th. That's Wednesday. Detectives were in the LMPD Department's 3rd Division Criminal Investigation Unit, and they executed a search warrant at a home located in the 6700 block of Barfield Road. The investigation was in connection to a string of recent burglaries involving juvenile suspects. So I'm just waiting for this press conference to get started so this detective can give us a little bit more information. Apparently, the parent of one of the suspects, they cooperated with police to help them solve this case. They found some evidence in this, so let's just wait. Again, this is a very informal thing, so not as structured as you typically see some of our media interviews with police. So let's stand by and wait.
Yes, we are.
Give it like 30 seconds and TV will be hot.
You related to Bill killing?
I am. It's my uncle.
Oh, no.
Alright, TV is on.
Perfect. How's everybody feeling? Everybody,
I'm ready.
we good?
I'm set if you are.
Thumbs up all around.
Yes.
Boop, boop, boop. Beautiful. All right, friend. Whenever you're ready, do you mind just starting off with your name, title, spell it for us?
It's Sergeant Joe Keeling. It's Joe, last name's Keeling.
And why are we here today?
On June 25th, 2025, the 3rd Division Criminal Investigations Unit conducted a search warrant on Barfield Road in relation to a series of burglaries we've been having within our division and all over Metro Louisville. During that search warrant, we recovered a lot of evidence, clothing and other items that came from burglaries that were direct evidence of the burglary, of clothes that the suspects were wearing, along with a stolen firearm that was taken from a burglary, along with other items. 3 juveniles have been charged so far with some of these burglaries. We're still investigating the burglaries. We suspect they are probably responsible for about 20 or more burglaries, but at this time they've been charged with 5 burglaries, and we will be putting more charges on them here in the near future.
Were there tips that kind of helped lead you guys to this? Was it just how did that kind of play out?
This was just a lot of very good investigative work by the detectives here in this office. We're able to put some pieces together and connect some dots of these burglaries happening over the last few months.
We've seen go ahead. You good? I was gonna say we've seen a lot of unfortunate juveniles, especially being at a school and things like that. I guess can you just address that the suspects were juveniles and kind of what you guys are seeing trend wise with the juvenile population here?
And it's kind of more of the same that's going on. This juveniles are committing the majority of the crimes that we're dealing with. It probably does have a lot to do with it being summertime and school being out and them having a lot of free time on their hands. But yes, it's just the continued trend of juveniles committing the crimes.
Do we know, were they siblings, or do you all know the connection, how the...
A couple of them were siblings, yes.
Exactly how many of them?
2.
How many juveniles were there?
Right now we are charging 3. There's probably going to be more put in that as well.
And do we know genders of any of them? I know we can't do identification.
Males.
All males. Okay.
Yes.
Do you know how old they were?
So far we've charged a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old. Yes.
Can you kind of talk about the gun robbery? I know that had taken place in southern Indiana. Do you know the date and kind of the location that took place at?
Actually, I misspoke on that. I was actually just corrected right before this interview started. It was stolen out of a package here in Louisville that was being shipped, along with several other firearms.
Was it all like they were breaking in, or were there some like stealing packages, like kind of what were?
I'm not sure the details on that case. It's actually an ATF case.
How often are you guys able to kind of connect the pieces like this and at a long form and make arrests like this?
It may take us a little bit, given the fact that everybody's wearing masks out there now. But we have the technology to figure out who you are and track you down. It just kind of it's hard with the mask. It's hard with even though we have video, sometimes it's not video we can do anything with. So we have to kind of sit back and wait for other pieces of the puzzle to fall into place, which is what happened here. And once we get that magic piece, usually the ball starts rolling pretty quickly on it.
Yeah, we've already talked about juveniles a lot and the issues that we've been having here in Louisville. Do you think there is anything that needs to be done about this? Is there anything that you all are doing about it?
LMPD is going to keep on doing what we're doing. We're going to keep on investigating, doing the best we can. We're definitely putting the cases out there and getting the suspects, but there's only so much we can do. I think a lot of it has to do with some parenting. So a lot of people aren't parenting their kids, and they're relying on LMPD to parent them. So this is unfortunately how we have to do it sometimes.
When it comes to juveniles, do you guys have anything in place to kind of do some early intervention things when you do have these arrests? Do you guys kind of, I mean, obviously.
That'd be better for
But say, yeah,
the
for
white
him.
to answer.
I didn't know if, so you're basically just focusing on.
I think the mayor has addressed that with the group violence
The
initiative.
group violence initiative,
Yes.
yeah.
It's all encompassing. We're casting a very wide net. It's not LMPD alone. And as Sergeant Killing said, it takes everybody. And LMPD has this role, and we're fulfilling that.
Yeah.
And I'm curious too, just on kind of the nature. I believe you guys said you were able to locate them, like with the helicopter and things like that. Like with the new drone program, I mean, how much will that help in situations like this?
Oh, that helps significantly with this. We actually already had surveillance on some individuals. The helicopter did come in and help us quite a bit on it, just to kind of help us relax a little bit on the ground surveillance. But yeah, the drone initiative is going to be tremendous for us. It's going to be great.
Were these burglaries scattered throughout Metro Louisville, or were they more concentrated in specific neighborhoods?
No, they're pretty scattered. As of right now, I think we have 5 in this division alone. We've spoken to 3 or 4 other divisions that have burglaries that we believe are going to be them. We also, they even admitted that they did quite a few. So we're still kind of trying to figure out which ones they're responsible for. A lot of them they couldn't even. It was just them out in stolen cars and picking random places to hit. So a lot of them they couldn't even remember where they were.
You mentioned it's been the last few months. Do you have a specific timeline of when this started, or?
The earliest we have as of right now is beginning of April, but
Okay.
I think that's going to be expanding a little bit.
I know that there's like a lot of pieces that are kind of still coming together, and the investigation is still ongoing. But right now, with what you have to work on, describe your emotions.
And it's kind of frustrating. They all have histories, but there's only so much we can do, and so much I can comment on that.
And I mean, when you guys have things like this, well, I guess it might be a Dwight question too, but with juveniles, is there programs that they could potentially be in to try and get them on a straighter path, that kind of thing, like
Yeah.
once they go through?
That'd be more for Dwight.
The group violence initiative, they give them some opportunities to get out of life, and things of that nature. And, we have all kind of programs, and there's all different types of things within Metro government that addresses that. And unfortunately for the police, we're on the back end of this, well before it ever happens. So, we do the best we can. Where we have programs like GREAT that's in our elementary schools and things of that nature, and with our PAL program and things like that. But as far as casting that wider net, we're still in the process of becoming.
Can you tell us what exactly the charges were with the 3 individuals?
So far, we have a total of 5 burglaries, possession of handgun by a minor, receiving stolen property over 10,000, criminal mischief first degree, receiving stolen property firearm, and some more burglaries.
And then on that third arrest, I don't know that the release had talked about that. Where was that arrest made?
That was actually made last week on another juvenile that was involved.
So is this unusual, or is it an example of a larger problem, or how are you looking at this?
No, this is, it's par for the course for a lot of the crime around here in Louisville. Like I said, it's a lot of our issues are being caused by juveniles that aren't being parented and aren't being supervised. They just are being allowed to go out and do what they want when they want, and it's becoming a very dangerous game.
Whenever you do have arrests like this, whenever you are able to recover firearms and things like that and find juveniles that are part of some bigger or have done multiple things, I guess just, I'm trying to think of how to say this, like what does it mean for LMPD to be able to get those guns off the street? Because a lot of times when we see stolen firearms, they lead to harsher crimes, they lead to possible
absolutely.
shootings and things like that. I guess just how does LMPD take these investigations and these arrests, kind of preventative of going towards more violent crimes?
I mean, it's always satisfying to we don't like that they're out there running around with guns, but it does feel good when we catch them with guns. We're able to get them from them, because yes, you're exactly right. I mean, these juveniles, they don't think about anything. They don't think about life, and they'll take one in a heartbeat. So there's no telling when we pull a gun off of a juvenile, there's no telling what we prevented from happening, because the trend is they're going out here and robbing and shooting and everything else. So there's no telling what we prevented, just pulling one gun off of somebody.
If you could talk directly to juveniles that are still out, that might be potentially caught up in bad things, what would you say directly to them?
I mean, it sounds fun now. It sounds fun when you're there with your friends, but when we start catching people and people start getting put in the hot seat and we start asking questions, the fun's over, and they're gonna be telling on you to save their skin. So it's not going to pay off in the long run. We'll eventually put it together.
And then what about the parents?
Parent your children, supervise them.
Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Did you say their ages? Can you say their ages?
Yes,
Yeah,
15, 16, and 17 so far.
Is there anything we missed that you feel like we need to put out there?
No, man.
Good deal. Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All right, folks, thanks for staying with me here on this stream. You heard from the sergeant talking about the arrest of several juveniles, teenagers in our area who are involved in burglaries, and the growing number of teens and young adults being involved in crime and lack of parental supervision, a big concern. So we are going to have more on this story coming up for you later today here on Wave News. So thanks for staying with us here on this stream. And I'm going to be on Wave News at noon, so I got to get ready for that. And then Wave News at 3. Busy Friday ahead. All right, folks, have a good day, good weekend, and I'll see you later.